Good evening, all. It is my pleasure to be here, and thank you for your patience in staying this entire evening. This is our last debate of the evening. My name is Nicole Benjamin and will serve as this evening's moderator. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization, and in accordance with League policy, I am not a voter in the district. I am a member of Rivertown League of Women Voters. I am sure these ladies have heard the ground rules several times this evening. A quick reminder: 1 minute opening statement, 1 minute closing statement, 1 minute for questioning, and 30-second rebuttal. We have previously drawn lots to determine the order of tonight's presentations and questioning. Ms. Clemens will present first as opening statement. 1 minute, Ms. Clemens.
Good evening. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this forum, and I'd like to thank all of you for coming this evening. My name is Terry Clemens. I've had the privilege of serving as a county legislator since 2018, and this year, for the first time, I'm facing a primary challenger. I'm asking for your vote for my reelection because while we've accomplished so much over the last 5 years, my work needs to continue, and your support is essential to continue to deliver results for District 11 and all Westchester residents. Representing the people of New Rochelle, Pelham, and Pelham Manor on the Board of Legislators is an honor and privilege. I've heard a lot in this campaign about suggestions for what Westchester should be doing. The good news is we've already made progress on so many of these issues. At the board, we are working hard on the issues we all care about: improving our aging infrastructure, public safety, global warming, affordable housing, improving life for seniors, and pandemic recovery. Thank you.
Ms. Franchella.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the League of Women. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for organizing this important forum and to the public for your interest in this process. I'm Jimena Francella, a resident of New Rochelle for the past 20 years. I'm a mom, a small business owner, and a community advocate. I'm running for county legislator because we need new leadership with a new vision and someone who truly cares about serving New Rochelle and Pelham. Voters in District 11 want a legislator who will address the impact of climate change, affordable housing, child care, the high cost of living, and safety in our communities. It is critically important that you pay attention to the issues that we are addressing in this race. The county board plays a very important role in our lives and in bringing resources to our communities. And as your next county legislator, that's what I plan to do.
Thank you. Questioning shall now begin. Do you both pledge to release your financial disclosure filings? Ms. Franchella.
I have already. I am someone who really pays close attention to this, and my filings had already been done.
Ms. Clemens.
Yes, absolutely.
May I rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, Ms. Clemens has not disclosed her financial filing, which was due 2 weeks ago.
Can I rebuttal that?
Yes.
Yes, that's been taken care of, and the state is posting it. Thank you.
What is your stance on public safety, particularly in regard to teenagers engaged in acts of violence? Ms. Clemens.
Repeat that question.
What is your stance on public safety, particularly in regards to teenagers engaged in acts of violence?
Okay. So I believe that teenagers that are involved with acts of violence need some direction and guidance, and a lot of times they don't have things to do. So one of the things that I have supported is the Boys and Girls Club and also the YMCA, because I think it starts there with giving them different opportunities to engage with other teenagers and to have mentors that will help them, develop and grow.
Ms. Franchella.
Thank you very much for this important question. As most of you know, regrettably, we've had 3 losses of life in New Rochelle in the last couple of years. So it clearly shows that we need to have an investment as early as possible in resources for children. My opponent is the head of the safety committee for the county. She has access to a number of resources. In the 5 years that she's been in elective office, we have never held a forum for the community when she clearly is able to do that. So we need to bring those resources into our community to make sure that our children and families have the resources that are needed.
Can I rebuttal that?
Both candidates have exhausted their rebuttals.
Okay,
Next
thank you.
question. How would you differentiate yourself from your opponent? Ms. Franchella.
Thank you again for this question, because this is the reason that I'm running in a primary. I am someone who's a doer. I have been serving the community for the last 20 years in various roles, both professionally, initially as a social worker, and then as a member of various boards in the community. And I'm proud of the service that I've given to the community. I'm on the planning board for Westchester County. I'm also on the Planned Parenthood board, as well as other organizations. So I'm proud of the service that I have provided the community, and I will continue to serve, as a county legislator.
Ms. Clemens.
Repeat the question again.
How would you differentiate yourself from your opponent?
Okay. So I'm an educator at Columbus School here in New Rochelle, and long before I ran for office, I was doing the work. As a district leader, when I knocked on doors and elderly citizens needed help, I provided that help for them. I was an elected official. This is something that I always did. I was also the state committee woman from New Rochelle for the 88th District for 8 years. And I'm very committed to work in my community. I've helped many immigrant families because as a county legislator, I wasn't always public safety. I've only done public safety for the last year after I did the Reimagining Police Reform Committee. Then I was asked to do that. Prior to that time, I was intergovernmental service and worked on immigration reform and helped a lot of the immigrant families in my community, especially through the problems we had with ICE. Thank you.
What do you propose to deal with the hungry and homeless in New Rochelle? Ms. Clemens.
Okay, that's the hungry and homeless. It is going to require that we expand a lot of the money for nonprofits. We have some good nonprofits that work, like Hope Community Services does a lot of work in this area, and there are other nonprofits. I can't speak of one in particular that's going to be coming on board, and as a county legislator, we like to support the work in the community by funding our nonprofit partners. We have increased the funding based on some of the monies that we have. We still have money left from the American Rescue Plan that we will have until December 2024. Some of the initiatives are Healthy Moms, Healthy Babies. Also, we are doing a lot of work with small business development and assistance and workforce and job training to help people. Thank you.
Ms. Franchella.
Thank you again for this question. Just last week, I was invited to go to the Oasis shelter, which is the homeless shelter for 80 people who live in New Rochelle. Again, my opponent has been there 5 years, has not visited the shelter. If you go there, your heart will break. They are living in terrible conditions. So this is something that really needs to be addressed. You really need to have someone who truly cares, who is involved in the community. And what I offer them, they gave me a list of things that they need, and they will be receiving a donation next week. So the difference between Ms. Clemens and I is that I don't wait. I'm not waiting to get elected. I serve the community in any way that I can at the moment that's needed.
What additional enforcement options would you consider to deal with the excessive speeding on the Bronx River Parkway, where there seems to be little or ineffective enforcement of the speed limits? Ms. Franchella.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
What enforcement options would you consider to deal with the excessive speeding on the Bronx River Parkway, where there seems to be little or ineffective enforcement of the speed limits?
Okay. Maybe there should be, cameras that are in the parkway that then they would be able to send summonses for people who are speeding. We should also have, law enforcement available, there, so they could easily get, people who are violating the traffic limits.
Ms. Clemens.
We actually are putting in place sound monitors at many of our parkways, especially mostly talking about the Hutchinson River Parkway, because it goes through the community, it goes through New Rochelle, it goes through Pelham. And this is something that we can monitor. We can monitor the sound. We can have cameras so that we can actually stop and ticket and maybe even send to jail some of these violators. This is a real problem, and the county is dealing with it.
If chosen as the Democratic candidate, what are 2 to 3 policies and/or projects that you will emphasize? Ms. Clemens.
Repeat that again?
If chosen as the Democratic candidate, what are 2 to 3 policies and/or projects that you will emphasize?
Okay. All right. So right now, I'm still working, since I'm public safety, I'm still working with the Public Safety Commissioner. We've been working on safety for schools all over the county, even though the state is responsible for that. We actually have a real-time crime center, and we've gotten a grant where we have an individual that monitors the schools. So if there's an emergency, it's also very, the other thing that I want to do is we have to work with a lot of the unions. We're working on some apprenticeship programs that have failed and to make them better, and that's one of the projects that I'm working on. We're also working on federal money for job training in the technology area. So those are the areas, working with the unions and apprenticeship programs and technology, for job retraining for individuals in Westchester.
Ms. Franchella.
The issues that I'm going to address is what the community has been asking for now quite some time. It has become really critical in the district to address the impact of climate change. Almost every voter that I spoke to in the district discussed the impact of flooding. And so this is something that we really need to invest in our infrastructure for the district. In addition, it is wonderful that we have development, but we need to address affordable housing to make sure that all of us, have a place, to live. In addition, safety in the community is something that's really critical, and we need to bring additional resources to our youth programs to make sure that our youth have opportunities and that they will be able to do well in the community.
Can I rebuttal? No, just one.
What can be done to increase county support for New Rochelle, one of the largest producers of affordable housing? Ms. Franchella.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What can be done to increase the county's support for New Rochelle, one of the largest producers of affordable housing?
Again, the areas that I would be addressing is to bring additional resources to the district. It is a great city, and the gaps that we are seeing is in regard to supporting the nonprofits in the area. And so, my goal will be to bring additional resources, for the nonprofits.
Ms. Clemens.
Repeat the question, please.
What can be done to increase the county's support for New Rochelle, one of the largest producers of affordable housing?
Okay, so we at the county have given $90 million, in 2023 to continue to fund municipalities to develop their affordable housing. I also want to say something about the climate change. There's been a study done in Pelham and in New Rochelle about the flood mitigation, and there's a more deep dive that has to happen. So we are preparing to put that in the capital budget so we can pay for that and we can move forward. One of our biggest projects that it has to happen right now is on the other side of New Rochelle by Eastchester. There is a dam that is compromised, and the county has come forward to put the money forward to deal with that. Otherwise, Mount Vernon and Pelham will be completely inundated with water, and Eastchester is not stepping up to help us with that project. But we've taken it on for the safety of the residents in New Rochelle, Pelham, and in Mount Vernon.
What can be done to improve links with our state legislators to push favorable legislation? Ms. Clemens.
We work very closely with the state legislators. We support their initiatives. We have a meeting every year where we discuss the legislative agenda that the Board of Legislators has and the state has, so that we can let them know what's important to the county and try to get funding. And we also support what the state legislature is doing so that the people of Westchester can have the maximum amount of support for education, environmental support, whatever it is they need, and that we work together.
Ms. Franchella.
I think it's very important to have community forums. I think that people who are in elected office need to really hear what's going on in the communities. So what I would propose is to have, community forums with all the elected officials, with the local officials as well as the state legislators, and then to hear what are the needs of the community, what are some of the ideas that the community has, and what laws we would like to have enacted. So that would be one of my proposals, to have additional community forums with our elected officials.
Candidates, it is now time for closing statements. As stated earlier, closing statements will be presented in reverse order of opening statements. We will begin with Ms. Franchella. 1 minute.
Thank you again to the League of Women Voters for organizing this important forum, and to the public for submitting such great questions. Through my career, I have shown that I do the hard work to get the results needed on any issue I have faced. And we need that kind of determination and effectiveness in our next county legislator. I promise you that with my strong work ethic and determination, I will deliver the resources that I needed to move New Rochelle and Pelham forward. Together we will find the solutions to deal with the impact of climate change, support our local business sectors, bring resources that support our youth, and make sure that families thrive in this district. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Ms. Clemens.
Thank you. My style is not to pound the table or make a scene, but to work hard to deliver results such as major investments in our aging infrastructure, including significant investments in repaving our roads and addressing chronic flooding issues, securing increased county funding for local nonprofits, record funding for affordable housing, which I mentioned before, including the $90 million for 2023, and we'll continue to give funds in 2024. We continue to work on this very critical problem. We would like people to stay in Westchester and not leave. Reducing the parent share for child care. It was, when I first became a legislator, 28%. I'm proud to say it's down to 5%, the lowest it's ever been. Lowering county taxes for 4 straight years. As a chairman of Public Safety Committee, I've been especially focused on school safety, gun safety, and on police reform. I'm proud to stand on my record of results, and my plan for the future is to continue to work hard. Thank you for coming this evening. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you to our candidates and our audience for your participation. We appreciate you, and thank you to our League President, Joan Alexander, and the wonderful League of Women Voters of New Rochelle. We appreciate the work that you've done this evening with this yeoman's task. Thank you. Get home safely. Thank you.